Welcome to part 4 of my holiday feast episode series, because it's Thanksgiving weekend at my place or in Canada. So this time going to do a little bit of baking, homemade buns, because buns are a staple for Thanksgiving. At least in my family it is. So, to do this, this recipe, and this is my family recipe, my mother's recipe. 4 cups of flour, or this is for just the batches I'm making. But you want to remember that with the amount of flour that you use, you have to use half the amount of water. So if you use 4 cups of flour, you have to use 2 cups of water. And one of the things that my mother taught me, because she taught me how to cook, mostly, was to make sure that the ingredients are the exact same for measurements. Same cup that you put the flour in, you measure the flour with, measure the water. Two cups of water. This is instant dry yeast. It's a good thing to use. Once I can open it. It's a new thing. I ran out of my last one. Okay. One of the things my mother taught me grow with cooking is, because she didn't have a lot of things growing up, because they weren't, how should I say, they weren't poor. But they didn't have a lot of money growing up. So they didn't have the money to get proper measuring utensils. Like teaspoon, tablespoons, stuff like that. So what they did was when they called for a cup of something, they used a mug. And same thing and tablespoons, they'd use a big tablespoon. Thought that container would have been bigger. Alright. So it's for every 2 cups of flour, it's a tablespoon of yeast. And always keep your work area clean. Of course, to feed the yeast, you need sugar. Because yeast is a live product. It feeds off of the sugar and the carbon dioxide that it puts off creates the bubbles that are needed for the sugar. Now, or bubbles for the yeast, for the bread. So I'm just going to do a customary mix. You don't want to add you want to just let that sit for a couple minutes. Reason being is before you add the sugar, the salt, because the salt actually stops, basically kills the yeast. So, sorry I'm walking around here, I'm just grabbing some ingredients. One of the big things for making bread is oil. Some kind of oil. Now, I just used the last of my oil with the to grease the pan for the scalloped potatoes. So I'm actually going to use butter, salted butter this time, and about a quarter cup of salted butter. With instant dry yeast, you don't need to, or with active dry yeast, you don't need to let it sit for as long as, say, fresh yeast. But you should definitely cut the butter up. All right. Fixate the dough hook. This is the dough hook for this one. Lift it up. This is a KitchenAid one. Incorporate. Can take a little bit of time. You want to work a lot of gluten into it. So with this, once it's been fully incorporated, everything like that, it is still going to be a little bit sticky, but that's okay. Just pull it out, turn it out onto floured work surface and start kneading in some of the extra flour. This is a high hydration dough. So working a lot, just working that gluten. Of course, add flour as you go. Alright, so what you want to do after you've kneaded it into a nice supple ball of dough. Alright, then cover it with a towel. And let it rest until it's doubled in size. Now been more than doubled in size. This is good. Take it out of its rest. It's good that it's all right. Okay, so you want to heavily oil the pan that you're using this with, that you're doing these buns in, and just roll them up into small little balls. And put them in the pan. We're doing a lot of these buns. Alright. So now, what you want to do, once you've rolled them out, cover them again. You need a bigger cloth, bigger towel. A bigger dish. Nice towel just to cover it and let it sit until they've at least doubled in size. Should take about an hour. So after an hour of proofing for the buns, the second time of proofing, the buns are now double in size of what they originally were. So now I'm going to give them an egg wash. Basically, I'm basting it in egg. That's basically what an egg wash is. Because it promotes a really nice crust. As you see on freshly baked stuff. Alright. Alright. Okay. Then you put them in the oven at 300, or sorry, 350, not 300. 350 for about half an hour. Hey Google, please set a timer for 30 minutes.
Okay, 30 minutes. Starting now.
Thank you. Alright, and once the buns are done, they're nice and browned on the outside and nice and fluffy on the inside and fully cooked, of course. Then the buns are done, and yeah, This is the last episode for my holiday feast. Tune in next week because I am making a stock out of the turkey bones that you see in the corner right there. Alright, well, thank you for liking, commenting, and subscribing. Hit the notification bell so that you can get updated for future videos, and thank you and good night.